All right, welcome back. Today, we're getting into something super important for anyone on a body recomposition journey. How do you actually know if it's working? I mean, you can put in all the work in the world, but if you're not measuring the right things, you're basically just flying blind. So let's talk about the must-have tools you need to track your transformation. This question. It's gotta be the single biggest frustration out there. You're training hard, you're eating right, you step on the scale, and nothing. The number's exactly the same, or even worse, it's gone up. It's so discouraging, right? It makes tons of people just want to quit. But what if I told you that a stubborn scale could actually be a sign that you're doing everything right? And this right here really gets to the heart of the problem. If you're just trying to lose weight, the goal is pretty simple, right? Make the number on the scale go down. But body recomposition, that is a totally different game. You're trying to do two opposite things at once: build muscle, which adds weight, and lose fat, which takes it away. And the scale, it just gets totally confused by the whole thing. Yeah, this is the scale's dilemma. If that number drops, are you losing the fat you want, or are you losing that hard-earned muscle? If it goes up, is that awesome new muscle, or is it just fat? And the most confusing one of all, if it doesn't move, are you in that sweet spot, perfectly swapping fat for muscle, or have you just hit a wall with zero progress? The scale is a blunt instrument, and for a delicate operation like this, it just isn't enough by itself. Okay, so if we're going to manage this whole recomposition project the right way, we need a better toolkit. The source material lays out 4 tools that are non-negotiable. When you use these together, they give you the real story, the complete picture of your progress. So let's crack up in this toolkit, starting with our old, complicated friend. Yep, that's right. We're not chucking the scale out the window just yet. For all its flaws, it does give us a really crucial piece of the puzzle, but only if you use it the right way. It's not about that single number you see in the morning. It's about the story it helps tell when we combine it with our other tools. And here's how you do it. The key is all about consistency. You're going to weigh yourself pretty much every morning, about 4 to 7 times a week. Do it right after you wake up and use the bathroom, but before you eat or drink anything. Then, at the end of the week, just average those numbers out. See, we're not worried about the day-to-day jumps from, water retention or a big meal. We are hunting for the weekly trend. Is that average number slowly creeping up, down, or is it staying put over several weeks? That's the real data we're after. Okay, on to tool number 2. This one is super simple, totally old school, but unbelievably effective. I'm talking about the measuring tape. It tells a completely different story than the scale, and honestly, it's one of the best ways to know for sure that you're on the right path. I just love this quote from the source material because it is perfect. The scale measures your total mass, while the measuring tape helps you understand the composition of that mass. They balance each other out perfectly. And using it is so easy. Just once or twice a month, measure your waist at the exact same spot. The belly button is a perfect landmark. You don't want to do it too often because you want to see a detectable change. And here's the kicker. Even if you're building up your core muscles, a shrinking waist is an almost foolproof sign that you are losing body fat, period. And this brings us to the magic question. This is where those first 2 tools come together to give you that big aha moment. So, what does it mean when the scale is creeping up, but the number on the tape measure is going down? It means you're absolutely crushing it. That's one of the clearest, most reliable signs that you are successfully building muscle while losing fat. You are literally reshaping your body. The scale might have made you think you were failing, but the tape measure reveals the truth. This is what body recomposition looks like in the data. Now for our third tool, which the source calls the most valuable of all. I mean, numbers on a scale or a tape are one thing, but visual evidence, that's undeniable. Progress photos capture changes your own eyes might miss when you look in the mirror day after day. But the key here, just like with the scale, is consistency. Same spot, same lighting, natural light from a window is great, same poses. Do this once or twice a month. You will be blown away by the changes you see when you compare those photos over time, changes that numbers alone could never fully describe. All right, our final mandatory tool shifts from measuring our bodies to measuring what we put into them. For a goal as precise as body recomposition, guessing just isn't going to cut it. We need precision, and that's where the food scale comes in. Think about it, this idea of compounding errors. A half-cup scoop of oats can be off by 10 or 20 grams. Do that a few times a day with different foods, and suddenly you're off your calorie and macro targets by a huge margin. Body recomposition demands a more intentional approach, and weighing your food, especially raw, is the only way to get the precision you need to optimize your results. Okay, so those are the 4 mandatory tools. But for those of us who love data and want to go a level deeper, the source outlines a few special tools. Think of these as optional upgrades. They're helpful, for sure, but they are not required for success. First are skin calipers, which simply pinch and measure the thickness of fat right under your skin. Then there's BIA, or bioelectrical impedance, often found in smart scales, which sends a harmless electrical current through your body to estimate body fat versus lean mass. And finally, the DEXA scan is the gold standard, a low-dose X-ray that gives you a precise breakdown of bone, fat, and muscle. With all of these, the key isn't the single number, but tracking the trend over months. And if the word X-ray sounds a little intimidating, don't worry. The source points out that a DEXA scan exposes you to about the same amount of radiation as a short flight from New York to Boston. It really helps to demystify the technology and makes it seem a lot more accessible. All right, we've got all our tools. Now for the most important part, putting the data together to create a clear blueprint of your progress. This is where we see how the mandatory tools work together in harmony. Check this out. This is a perfect example of what success looks like. Over 4 weeks, the average weight went up by ½ pound. A scale-only approach would tell you you're failing. But look closer. The waist measurement dropped by almost a full inch, and the photos show more shoulder definition. This isn't failure. This is the absolute definition of a successful body recomposition. This really brings us to the whole point. There's a great quote that says, "Give ordinary people the right tools, and they will build the most extraordinary things." You don't need magic, you don't need secrets, you just need the right set of tools and the knowledge of how to use them to see the real story of your progress. Remember, the scale alone can be a liar, but with the full toolkit, the scale, the tape, the camera, and the food scale, you get the truth. You have everything you need to see your real progress and build the physique you're working for. You have the blueprint. The only question left is, what will you build?